So these people who have been bold enough to get on a rickety boat, and I mean rickety boat, and come all this way to get here, I think we owe them a lot of respect actually. And the people who bring them over, the people smugglers, I think that they deserve a big pat on the back, because these are people who are risking their own lives.
For money.
Fine. What happened during the Second World War? There was a lot of people who were helping Jews get out of Germany and Eastern Europe, and they were charging them money as well. But they were actually saving lives. So money in actual fact doesn't come into it. And the amount of money that they're earning in any case is peanuts. There's a wonderful book out there called The People Smuggler. If you can get hold of that book, it's a wonderful book to read. And there you'll really appreciate what the people smugglers actually do. But at the end of the day, only 7% of refugees coming to this country come in by boat. 7%, that's nothing. Yet the media makes a whole big hullabaloo out of it, and us suckers, we sort of buy into their rhetoric that we're being swamped by refugees. We're not. And by the way, if you think of countries like Italy, where they get thousands of people coming in, and the governments over there help the refugees, and they save lives, because these guys are also on rickety boats, and the governments over there actually do wonderful things to actually help the actual people. If we look at countries like Lebanon, where people are coming in from Syria in their thousands. I mean, that poor country over there is a poor country compared to us, but they are actually helping people. So I think our government and us as a nation should be looking at ourselves in the mirror. And people often say, well, hang on a second, there's a queue. Why don't these boat people join the actual queue? What queue? In some places, there's no facility where you can have a queue. So a lot of the people who are coming by boat, they're just trying to get the best for their own children, and these are children on the boats as well. And I've actually spoken to these people, and I've actually spoken to the actual kids, and they are suffering something terrible. So we should have bigger hearts. And listen, this is a big country.
No, we need bigger minds.
We need bigger minds. Thank you.
Yeah.
We should treat each person as an individual. I look at you, and I will treat you as an equal and as a normal, decent human being until you prove otherwise. Now I can tell you something, I might as well admit this to you. I happen to be Jewish, and I work with Muslim people at the Villawood Detention Centre, and hey, 99% of them, in fact 99% of all people in the world are good people. How can we generalise and say otherwise?
That's nonsense.
Oh, come on.
What did you say? What was that percentage?
99% of people on this planet are good. There might be some people who are leaders who will deceive people into leading them in terrible directions, but no, at the end of the day, we're all decent people. Yes, sir?
One of the things that concerns me, this is not just a refugee problem, but a total immigration problem. And those refugees that get to stay here are part and parcel of this problem. There seems to be an incredibly dwindling number of jobs in Australia. Does this concern you about the refugees?
Yes. Now you go to Orange, Bathurst, Dubbo, Tamworth, and you'll find over there, especially in the farming areas, there's a need for people to work there, for unemployed people to work there, labourers.
Yes.
But at the same time, you catch a taxi in Sydney, and there's a very, very good chance that the driver will either be Indian or Pakistani, and you ask them if they've got any qualifications, and they will say yes, in their country they were a doctor or an engineer,
PhD, whatever.
But in this country, they're not recognised. Now, why aren't they recognised? Sure, our standard might be higher. So I will then say to them, and I advise you all to have the same conversation with them, I will say to them, why don't you go to university, do a bit more studying, that you get up to our level? And the answer to that question is a brilliant answer. And the answer that they give is, well, who's going to feed my family?
Yes.
I've got to work a job over here. Now, why doesn't our government, who knows that we're short of doctors and engineers and all these highly qualified people, all they've got to do is for 1 or 2 years pay them a subsidy which will feed their families, and these people will go to university over here, and then we'll have more qualified people. I think the people up there, wrong place, the people in Parliament back there, they really, really need to think clearly how they make all these decisions. Some of these decisions are absolutely stupid.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Any more questions? This is an advert. If you or your kids schools happen to have any musical instruments, music helps people with stress. That's why I get involved with the actual people, at the people level, not at the political level. So if you happen to have any music instruments that you'd like to donate, The organisation, you can Google it, there's a website called musicforrefugees.org, and if you Google that, there's drop-off points throughout the whole country, and if you donate any music instruments, they will end up in the hands of refugees, and believe me, you will help to make a difference. Thank you.
Hey.